What's up everybody, Moniz here, and welcome to my 30-day review of the OnePlus 6. I've been using this as my daily driver. I've water tested it, I've drop tested it, I've even using it here in LA for E3. I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that I really don't like about this phone and some of the things that I really love. And then we're going to round it off on whether or not it's worth $520. So let's start off with some of the things that I don't like about this device. And the first thing that comes to my mind is the battery life. Inside of here is a 3300 milliamp battery, but this is a 6.28 inch device. And I'm not getting more than a day's use. I'm barely making it through the entire day. I feel like I need to charge up sometime in the evening if I want to go into the night. You see, when you buy a bigger phone, you expect better battery life. And if you take something like the Huawei P20 Pro, for example, you get a 4000 milliamp battery with basically the exact same type of display, and you get about a day and a half to 2 days of use. Now, some of you are going to say, Matthew, but it has dash charging, the fastest charging in the world, and that's fantastic. But quite frankly, I don't have to worry about plugging it into a wall, and I don't want to have to carry a power bank with me. The second thing I don't like about this phone is the mono speaker. It's just not a great mono speaker in general, and because it's positioning, I'm finding myself constantly blocking it when I'm watching movies in landscape mode. I think this would have been a great time for OnePlus to introduce dual speakers, utilize the earpiece, or maybe utilize that extra space on the screen to add a second speaker so that we have better audio. The third thing is the display. Like, I'm a complete display snob, and this display is not bad. It's not terrible by any means, but it's been pretty much the exact same inferior Samsung AMOLED panel since the OnePlus 3T. See, this is one of their AMOLED panels that use a pentile matrix. And on a device like the OnePlus 3, which was 5.5 inches, it wasn't a big deal. You didn't really see too much pixelation. Now that it's 6.28 inches, it's a little bit more fuzzy and things are a lot more noticeable. And this goes true for the Huawei P20 Pro. It's using the exact same display as the OnePlus 6. So I think a device this big really needs a QHD display to really help make things look a little bit better. Now, the colors are punchy, which is fantastic. It does get bright and it is good for outdoors, but I think overall it's time for a display upgrade. And the last thing is kind of 50-50. I kind of like it, but I don't like it at the same time, and that's the gestures. They are much better to use than, let's say, on-screen software buttons, but they're not as refined on the OnePlus 6 as they are on the iPhone 10. I mean, to swipe up to go home works great, to go back on either side is also fantastic, but there's times where I have to do it more than once. Getting to the recent apps menu is a little bit janky, like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I think the gestures itself need some improvement, but overall I'm glad they're introducing it. Now, I know it sounds like I'm being really hard on this smartphone, and I should. I'm a tech reviewer. You guys should know everything you need to know before making a purchase. And some of the stuff that I mentioned is very subjective. Like a big phone for some people, not a big deal. Having a mono speaker on the bottom, not a big deal. At least you have a headphone jack. But let's talk about what makes this phone great. And the first thing is the performance. Hands down, the fastest smartphone I've used in 2018 so far. The Snapdragon 845, the 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM, Oxygen OS, which is very minimalistic, very fine-tuned. Everything just flies on this device. The second thing that I really love about this phone is the camera. Hands down, for the price, the camera in here is fantastic. Is it going to beat out the Galaxy S9 Plus or the Pixel 2 or the iPhone 10? Most likely not, except maybe the front-facing camera. I actually did a front-facing camera comparison, and this phone did a lot better than some of the more expensive flagship devices. But during the day, it takes great photos. Even nighttime, it holds up its own pretty well. I think justifying spending $300 to $400 more for a slightly better camera is hard to swallow for a lot of people. So if you want all the bells and whistles like portrait mode and stuff like that, you're gonna get it with this device as well. I've compared it to the Samsung Galaxy S9, the Pixel 2, and I've done a huge front-facing camera comparison, which I'll place in the link down below. You'll be pretty surprised how well this phone performs. And the last two things are kind of minor, but I'm happy they're there. First and foremost, thank you OnePlus for keeping the headphone jack. Second, alert slider. I love this thing. Hands down, one of my favorite hardware features of this device. I think all phones should either have an alert slider or a dedicated camera button. This is just so much easier to do than, let's say, log into your phone, swipe down, change whether or not you want ring or vibrate on, or play with the volume buttons in order to get the specific tone you want on your device. Just being able to flick it quickly, huge time saver, great feature. So that pretty much wraps up my review on the OnePlus 6. This is a fantastic smartphone for $520. Sure, it's not perfect, it doesn't have the best display, battery life, camera, or sound experience, but it does have a headphone jack, really great performance, good software, some physical buttons that other smartphones don't have, and some pretty attractive colors. The question you have to ask yourself is, do you need those extra features for $200 or $300 more? Or for 520 bucks, are you gonna be happy with a smartphone that does most things pretty darn well? Now, some of you might look at a smartphone last year, it might offer slightly better features, and that's an option too. But if you want a brand new device running the latest specs, then for 520 bucks, the OnePlus 6 is a great option. So let me know what you guys think of the OnePlus 6 in the comments below. I would love to hear what you have to say. If you liked the video, hit the like button. Follow me on Instagram. I did a OnePlus camera blind test. If you want to see the results, it'll be up on there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you in the next one.